exactly 7 o'clock.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. Today is March 13th, 2012. We have a village board meeting followed by a committee of the whole meeting. The time is 7 o'clock. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Booth, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Gazzuso?
Present.
Mr. Novak?
Present.
Mr. Perry?
Present.
Mr. Sloan?
Present.
Mr. Stecker?
Present.
Mr. Newman?
Present.
Mr. Foley?
Present. We do have a quorum. Mrs. Mathies or Miss Mathies, do we have any presentations this evening?
We do not.
Okay. Item number 5, public comments and questions. To give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak in the interest of adjourning by 9 p.m. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length unless further time is granted by the board. Any comments on the active agenda and questions of general matters, please step up to the microphone, introduce yourself to our clerk, and fire away.
No record of that. I did check. You win. I didn't get my pay pension. And $1.50 off was paid with no cutoff date. This board is doing the same thing with the referendum on March 20th. No expiration date. You want that penny, but you don't know when to stop. It's not right. You're running a meeting by yourself. The trustees don't get much to say. I've run many association meetings, and I let the people talk. I was only there to run the meeting, period. That 3-minute deadline should be put on when you go on for a half hour or more. The second reason I want to talk about the surveys that all residents pay. This is absurd. We are putting thousands of dollars out of the water. We are not putting thousands of dollars out of the water in the sewer. The rains and the snow do it, not us. These sewers have been fixed starting 60 years ago. And also the water lines. You are doing a good job so far, but you are trying to fix everything in your one term in office. You can't do it. Stop spending money you don't have. I like to see you print this in your newspaper and explain why the plan when we started the fire department didn't get any pension after the years of service, saving this village thousands of dollars and protecting all residents and risking their lives serving every day for 20 or more years. And they did do that. If we got at least 20%, I mean, 4% of what the police and the fire department get now, we'd have been happy. We got nothing. We have over 17,000 residents in this village. And just say they use 17,000 gallons of water per quarter, you charge $20 per source. You are getting a huge amount of money every year. That's a lot of money. Back to the wall. It is not drinkable. When Chicago, especially when you have to treat it almost every day, so the residents can at least drink it safely. And that's a fact. So now how can the mayor of Chicago charge extra money for undrinkable water? We are paying not only for fixing the pumping stations, but for all of the people in Chicago use in fixing all their sewers and water lines. Of course, we have been paying for their use of the water for over 50 years. And that's a fact. Because I know people that live there, my own cousins. I said my piece, you could go mull it over. Thanks for listening. There's one more thing I'll add on. I just, this morning, listened to this mold company right down the street here. And I went through the alley. Well, I'd like to see just one of you try going down that alley. Because I had to idle all the way to that mold company. The holes there are so bad, I can't believe those businesses stay there. I don't drive them a move. says it's not easy. He said, if we complain, they'll give us a ticket. Oh, that's enough. I got a lot of other things I want to say now. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. And we did put in a work order on the alley, so they're going to address that tomorrow. Any other comments? Please step up, introduce yourself.
My name is Angie Bethia, and I have a question, or I would rather say it's a concern rather than a question. My concern is the village code in regards to fencing.
And in regards to what?
Fencing.
Oh, fencing, okay.
Okay.
You know, if you can get a little closer to the mic.
In regards to ownership of a dangerous dog, too. My neighbors across from my yard recently, I think over the winter, they purchased 2 Rottweilers, and they're big, big dogs. Really. I wasn't worried about it till my kids, when they warmed up, went outside, and when I noticed the dogs are constantly barking, constantly jumping. I can see the whole dog pretty much over the fence because they can jump pretty well. My concern is that other villages, they have very strict codes as far as owning the Rottweilers. If you have pit bulls and Rottweilers, and as long as I remember, those are the most dangerous dogs in the United States. 80% of fatal attacks are usually by Rottweilers and pit bulls. My question is, what can I do to protect my kids?
Whose fence are you talking about? Is it your fence or is his fence right now?
I think it's his fence, it's not mine. It's directly in the back of my yard. I live on Canterbury. The neighbor I'm talking about is on Waterford, 10537. I called the village. I wasn't able to get any information in regards to if the dogs are even registered. There's no, if you check Buffalo Grove, Hoffman Estate, I have friends who live in Northwood Suburbs. If you do all these dogs, you have to have at least 5 feet non-climbable fence. We have 4 feet. Some areas it's not even 4 feet. I measured it. You go in a garden in the back, my kids will play outside, the dogs are constantly standing up and just ready to, I don't know.
Come
Maybe
up
they
here.
won't jump, maybe they will, but I want to know, what can I do to protect my kids? As a Westchester resident for 20 years, I don't want to go outside in fear of getting attacked by the dog.
Well, I don't believe our code has a requirement as far as fencing for animals. That's maybe something we need to look into.
Okay?
I know we don't have anything presently. I know there's ordinances on housing dangerous dogs, but there has to be some type of activity that the dog would do, and it's not just a dog barking or something like that.
I understand.
And it's very difficult to label a specific breed, and there's some court cases on that as well to outlaw types of dogs in, as far as ownership or things of that nature.
I'm not saying everybody who owns a dog, it's a vicious dog.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Obviously, it could be the cutest, the smartest, and the nicest dog, but those who
Well,
Rottweilers.
let us do this. You've mentioned a couple of municipalities, and we can certainly jot those down to see what type of ordinances they have. If they pass, legal muster, in some cases, being home rule and non-home rule community, there's some, things that you can and can't do or force people to do or, that we may not be able to. So let us do a little bit of research. I know Chief Padlick was doing research on another matter regarding dogs on leashes and things of that nature. See what we can come up with and see if there's anything that we may be able to, assist with on the government level.
Yeah, because it's simple. If it was my fence, I'll come up with some kind of extension to it, and I'll protect my yard. That's all I need to know.
I mean,
But it's not my fence, and I can't knock on the door and say, hey.
but you certainly have the ability, if you wanted to erect your own fence. I mean, that's a possibility. The code allows 6 foot.
Right.
So, I mean, say he didn't have a fence and the dogs were, in the backyard and, people were scared about that. There has been times where people have erected their own fence up to 6 feet on their property that may prevent that as well.
But how do I do it? The fence already exists.
You
Chain
could-
link fence around the whole fence.
Well,
Do I put the fence right
you on your property, you can put a fence
do
up.
whatever I want?
Well, there are certain, obviously rules and regulations and distances and, that you have to play out of surveys and that. But if you wanted to erect a 6-foot fence in, the back piece of your yard or the side pieces or wherever you feel necessary, that's certainly allowable.
My concern is it's just gonna look like a movie and I would have to.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
If it's something I can do myself,
Yeah.
I'll do it myself, because I really don't wanna dictate, okay, you have a dog, you have to have a higher fence. I'm only concerned about these particular dogs, because they're dangerous.
Well, that's one option that's available too. I know the chief had a comment, Ms. April?
We are researching a dog ordinance to upgrade it at the moment. It's being looked into. I'd be happy to take your information and find out if those dogs are registered, because they have to be by ordinance. But I too, I am familiar with Rottweilers. I've owned Rottweilers. We have to watch what we say is vicious and isn't vicious. Just because they're large dogs doesn't necessarily mean they are vicious. If I were you and you're that concerned, I would take their advice and erect a higher fence on my end.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. And I will talk with you afterwards and get your information.
Because I know that I'll give you an example how can you say Buffalo Grove. I have friends who live in Buffalo Grove, and when you call Buffalo Grove Village, they'll tell you, okay, we have 10 Rottweilers, we have this many pit bulls. They actually give you the information, everybody's dog is registered, and it's fine because you have to define beware of the dog. These particular people don't have it, so I was just wondering if there's anything we can do. I want to protect not just my family, I just don't want any accidents happen. So that's my concern. It's better to be safe than sorry.
We're looking into it.
Any other comments or questions that we may be able to answer? And young lady, make sure that the chief gets some of your information from you, please. Anything? If not, no public hearings as well? Anyone? No? Okay, item number 7, consent agenda. Anybody want to pull anything off the consent agenda at this point in time? Anything? Anybody? Nothing? Good. Okay, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? Record of bills, department reports, approval of minutes of February 14th, 12, Committee of the Whole, the 28th of the Board, 28th Committee of the Whole, ordinance to approve fiscal 2012 budget amendment, ordinance amending municipal code for food service establishment hours of operations, ordinance waiving bidding, competitive bidding, authorizing purchase of a paver box, and a resolution approving a sign reflectivity program. Motion by.
So moved.
Who was that?
Nick? Sure.
Nick, and who was the second? Paulie?
Frank.
Or Frankie? Frankie, okay. Motion by Nick, second by Frank. If there's nothing else, Kathy, please call the roll.
Mr. Vituzzo?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Folia?
Aye, motion carries. Items have passed. Thank you. Item number 8, active agenda. A motion and a second to approve a resolution, an intergovernmental agreement for the joint task force. This is a police department item. Motion by
So moved.
Second.
Brian, second by Tom.
Did we discuss this at Committee of the Whole? Did we have a prior discussion on this item?
I thought we did it last meeting.
I
I
think
thought-
April
yeah.
brought it
I
up
thought this was
in
the same
discussion.
one. Okay. I just was
Your
wondering
joint
why it wasn't on the consent.
task force recommendation for approval? Okay,
You talked about it last meeting, right?
yeah. Any
No.
tidbits of information you
No.
want to share
No.
regarding the
No.
the joint task force that we don't have in front of us?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Understood.
all right.
Yeah.
Does the board have any questions of April?
No.
Okay. There's a motion and a second on the floor for that approval. Kathy, please call the roll.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Vituzzo?
Aye.
Mr. Folia?
Aye, motion carries. Item number 9, manager report.
Okay, we've got a few things to mention this evening. Wanted to remind everybody that next Tuesday, March 20th, is Election Day. The county is projecting low voter turnout, so we would encourage all the residents to come out and vote. We do have 2 referendums on the ballot. You can look at a sample ballot on our website. We did post that the other day. And please note the referendums are way at the bottom, so you have to get past all of the judicial candidates and all that before you get to the referendum. The 2 that we have posted there are a referendum for municipal aggregation, which would allow the village to negotiate lower rates for the purchase of the electric supply. ComEd would still be delivering the service, but we would be able to save you money in the purchase of that actual electricity. It's projected that if we do pass this municipal aggregation, that it could actually bring a savings of approximately $1.7 million to residents of Westchester alone. That would be approximately $194 in the average annual savings per household. So we do encourage you strongly to get out and vote for the referendum. And we also have a referendum for a non-home rule sales tax. We are proposing a penny on a dollar non-home rule sales tax that would be dedicated to capital improvements, primarily road improvements. Most of our surrounding communities already have adopted a non-home rule sales tax, and we are one of the few that don't. So when you stop in any of our neighboring communities and go shopping there, you are paying into their non-home rule sales tax. So we're just trying to establish status quo and provide a revenue stream that would allow us to do some badly needed street improvements. The monies would be used to pay debt service on a bond that we would take out to pay for those road improvements. Also wanted to mention that many of you have heard that Jean Sophie is leaving District 92 and a half. They have actually would like to do a survey and would like to get community input on hiring a replacement. They feel the selection of the new superintendent is probably the most important decision a Board of Ed has to make. Therefore, they've hired the Illinois Association of School Boards to assist in the process. We do have a link to the survey on our website and would encourage everybody to take a few moments and do that survey to help them see what the community is looking for in a replacement for Dr. Sophie. The mayor will be hosting a senior breakfast this Friday at St. Joe's at 8:30 a.m. We do ask that you call the Village Hall and talk to Molly Keene and make a reservation if you've not already done so. Also, wanted to remind everybody that vehicle stickers went on sale on March 1st. We've currently sold approximately 3,000 vehicle stickers to date, so everybody's getting an early jump on that. And wanted to remind everybody that you do have to have those replacement stickers on your windshield by April 30th, or you're subject to a citation. So please stop in and say hello to everyone at Village Hall and buy your vehicle sticker. And we do have a new employee that I also want to introduce. We have added a new finance director, and her name is Ann Burkholder. She's here this evening. This is her first board meeting, so she's been introduced to everybody so far, and she's been here 7 days now, doing a great job so far, and we hope that she's here for a very long time to come. So welcome, Ann.
She's been handcuffed to the chair.
Right.
So.
Your hand is
Welcome.
right. Is that Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, anything for the good of the order?
No report this evening, sir.
CAB.
Our next meeting's tomorrow at 7 in the community room, and we're still going ahead on May 5th with our JDRF walk and our health fair that we are hosting at St. Joe's.
Going well?
It's going well. We're still looking for some providers, so if anybody has any allied providers or healthcare providers that want to participate, have them contact me via email or something, and we can get them in there.
Great. EDC. Frankie.
We actually had a pretty good meeting. We talked mostly about codes here in town and how they affect the way the town looks, how lower codes may bring adverse effects to the village, and how higher codes bring some complaints from the businesses about the codes of potential failure. And we talked more about the survey and the UIC class that's doing their strategic planning on Westchester. That's it in a nutshell.
Green Committee.
We met a week ago, and we ended up talking about a couple things. Quickly, the Fest is doing a recycling program in the Fest, which Trustee Gattuso has been more than kind to help out and mention that. The second thing was the e-recycling coming up second Saturday in April. Just a reminder, we're going to do a little bit more organization with that. So we're going to do a couple lanes and make sure cars don't hit each other or hit people. On a separate part, everybody has a packet at their thing. It's the Village of Westchester Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. If everybody would turn to page 1, I'd like to start reading every single word. This is actually a requirement for the Village of Westchester. 2 phases. One, to get our community rating system number. This is required. The board needs to approve this. So I asked Janet to put it on the next meeting's agenda. By doing this, we finalize the process, and then we get our rating. The second piece of the puzzle is this is also going to be submitted to IEMA, which is the Illinois something or another, and they're going to process it, send it to FEMA for approval, and by doing that, we're able to apply for some funds out there from previous disasters. The good news is, once they start reviewing it, we could apply. We don't have to wait for approval, so that's why I want to get this thing moving and get it out. So, okay, page 3, if you turn.
Nick, anything for the order, sir?
No, you know what? I was just wondering, Jimmy, as far as that Z-Tron, I was just wondering what the status was of the things from the 911 meeting.
At this point, I think we're still just getting information and a couple different companies to come in and look at our setup and see where we're going to go.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Brian, anything to add, my friend?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Paulie, on special events, and before we get rolling, I did want to have a conversation earlier with you, but was unable to. What I would like, following the patterns of our other committees, I know you're starting to organize this, so when you get the names of the participants who you're having with the committee, if you would send them to me and I could take a look at them, and then a letter of interest, something brief. I know we got a whole bunch of things here. I could share that membership with the board. What I've tried to do is keep the membership somewhere between 5 and 7, so we're not overbearing. And certainly as a formalized special events committee, you know, all the rules and operations and things of that nature, hooking into the village staff, so we have a conduit for information, and what we have to, you know, keep track of would be very helpful. I know you're putting that stuff together.
Exactly.
So if we're going to follow with the ad hoc committees, the advisory committees that we have, we should be in that vein. And
Not a problem.
I'll speak with, you know, you, and I think Janet want to hit some conversation as we have these things going on. We have the fest, we have the parade, we have this, we have that.
Not a problem. We're working on the parade and everything. I do have a bunch of people that I got involved in this, so I will get names of the ones that are going to be the base of the committee, and then the legs that go out afterwards are just normal residents. We are working on the parade. We have some commitments right now, some good ones. Score Radio will be around for us. Okay. And we reached out to the Cubs, the Sox, the Bulls, the Rush. So we're getting some feedback with a lot of them. They might be here. So we're going to have a lot of people try to get into this parade. It's working out very well. That's one thing. Another thing is I do have some applications that I would like to send out in the newspaper, show it, you know, to everybody, fill them out if they want to get their float, their car, or something in the parade. We got this. Greg's going to get me some information from the past years about who was in it that we solicited to come in and paid for or not paid for. So he's going to give me that information so I can put all that together. So hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have all your information about who we're having and who we're not having.
And there's no fee, right?
No fees.
No fee.
Trying to do it without any fees, trying to do it as cheaply as possible, and Greg was telling me about some of the things that we hired some people, so when I get that information to make sure how much it, you know, what we're gonna look for, we'll see if we can get them to come for nothing and work for that year. But other than that, we're working on this. We're also working on the concerts. That's another thing that we're looking at, to get some concerts all around town, in some areas of the park or something, or in the village, or on 31st, or at different businesses there that would allow us to get in there and do something in that way. So currently contacting some other places that own some centers that maybe we can use their lots and do it like I do it for the car show. So we're working on that too. So and we've been busy. We're trying to get more and more events. We're planning a lot of things, and hopefully a movie night too, that we'll get that off too.
I mean, it's kind of things that we've been talking about. I would like to, and, you know, money is always everything, which we know. But we've talked about it in the past, that if we had some type of Oktoberfest, and I know I was at the chamber meeting today, and they talked a little bit of Oktoberfest, but I didn't want to jump out and say, oh yeah, we want to do that as well. You know, you weren't there, so, you know, as part of it, I know this board has talked about it in the past, that maybe looking at something.
Certainly we'll look to put it together, Sam. I reached out to Keith earlier, so and I'll get a call back from him. I'd like to know what the chamber would like to get involved in and would not get involved in first. You know, see what they want to put their hands on and not. So I'll get together with him in another day, get his input on what they want to do. But it's moving forward. We got a lot of good things. So I see a lot of good things coming for the summer. Okay?
Good, thank you, appreciate that.
Sam, I got a question.
Frankie.
I keep forgetting to ask you about the appointment of Pastor Joe Mills to the EDC.
And that's one of my next
There we are.
next topic. So we'll broach that in a second. Nicholas?
Just one last thing. I know I wasn't at the last meeting, but I just wanted to thank you I listened to or watched the last meeting. I wanted to thank you for the kind words. I was glad I wasn't here, I guess, when you said it, but thank you. That's all.
Well, you're quite welcome, and an asset to any department, that's for sure. So, Jimmy, you need to figure out a way to bring him in as a battalion chief.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Not a little conflict of interest there.
Anyway, what Frank was talking about on EDC. As you know, when we started the EDC, we put a position in for the chamber president. So it could have been anybody. It was started out with Mary Ann Barrow and ended up with Reverend Mills. As most of you know, Reverend Mills is very, very committed to the EDC. And I would ask your indulgence to appoint him as one of the vacancies in the EDC without further ado. So I didn't make a presentation or whatever. I think everybody knows Reverend Mills. He's been doing this job for a number of years. If anyone has a reservation about my appointment for him, you know, please let me know. But if not, I certainly want him part of the EDC. The other day when the UIC kids were here, he was in the audience, and he certainly is touting the EDC and the economic viability of the businesses with the Chamber of Commerce as well. So I would ask that, you know, he be put on as quickly as possible.
I agree.
On that.
Concur.
So,
Did it to the agenda for the next meeting?
if we can, yes. So, doing that as well. Chief Padlick, your turn.
Myself and the chief here, am I right? We're at a meeting today, again, with constant planning with the NATO conference coming in May. Tomorrow evening, I will be representing Westchester Police Department. I've been invited by Elizabeth Gorman, Commissioner, 17th District, Cook County Board of Commissioners. I and my fellow Police Chief Pam Church will be in attendance at the Orland Fire Protection District headquarters. We are been asked to participate in a panel on the increase in the heroin epidemic that's hitting all our suburbs and communities. So we'll be doing a lot of brainstorming for prevention. Recently we had a career night here hosted in Westchester Police Department for students in St. Joe's High School. It was a first-time event. Juniors and seniors were selected from their schools based on their interest in law enforcement from their guidance counselors. I have a couple comments of these students that they had attend a roll call training, a PowerPoint presentation, and then half were assigned to the 911 center and the other half went on a ride-along, and then after a few hours they switched. Ariel Guzman states, last Friday I attended a ride-along in Westchester Police Department. This experience was very important in my decision of whether to become a police officer or not. I experienced the behind-the-scenes moments with the police officers, which they don't show on any police series or TV show. These are real police officers, and they are very important to the community. I discovered the pros and cons of being a police officer and talked with an experienced police officer one-on-one. I enjoyed my time at the Westchester Police Department, and this visit really encouraged me in becoming a police officer. Stephen Perez stated, it clarified what I want to prepare for as a career. I like the variety of skills that are needed to become a police officer, the mental and physical challenges. The 911 room was quiet and definitely important. The drive along was interesting. I learned the routine of what they have to do as out on patrol. The reason I want to become a police officer is I want to make an impact on the community. My father is a police officer and got a crime reduction award for making a lot of arrests. When I've gone into his police department with my dad, it doesn't seem real, but when I was by myself on Friday, I can actually see myself doing this. And Thaddeus Sowinski stated, this was an amazing experience to see what cops have to deal with on a daily basis. I went there wanting to be a paramedic or firefighter and left wanting to be either a 911 dispatcher or police officer.
He'll turn around.
I would definitely do a ride-along again. The PowerPoint provided me a lot of information on what I need to do and what I need to know in order to be a cop. It also showed me that they just don't go out and catch bad guys, but they help out around the community with the elderly people. The 911 room was very cool, and all the screens and the 4 TVs showing cameras throughout the police department. The stories of calls that the 911 dispatchers have received really amazed me. The thing that impressed me the most was on the ride-along would have to be all of the equipment that the detectives use to get fingerprints and blood samples. I was very fortunate to be invited to do this job shadowing opportunity. I'd love to do it again. We did it again. We had a second round that came to us on March 10th. And in closing, I'd like to remind everyone that St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. And this press release went out. Westchester police officers will be on extra patrol from March 12th through March 20th. A majority of the patrols begin between midnight and 3 a.m. Westchester police officers will be citing impaired drivers as well as citing all traffic infractions, including seatbelt violations. And that includes the new law that went into effect January 1st. Everybody in the vehicle has to be in a seatbelt. It includes backseat passengers. The Westchester Police Department recommends you buckle up this holiday season.
Jimmy.
First of all, Mr. Sowinski hasn't seen the firehouse yet. So, like most police officers, they don't see it till after they're police officers and then want to jump sides. But anyway, I want to remind everybody, if they haven't changed their clocks, to change their clocks and their batteries and their smoke detectors as well. Because of the balmy weather we've had this winter, on the fire department end, we've been relatively quiet as far as fires and things of that nature. Chief Padalick mentioned we're preparing for NATO, and on the fire department end, it's actually a good refresher to go over our directives and SOPs when it comes to larger events like this before they actually happen. And that's about all I got.
Thank you, Jim. Dennis.
Thank you. I'm pleased to report that the long-awaited development at 31st and Wolf has finally arrived. The drawings were turned in and they're distributed, and we're beginning our review on it, so that's promising. The vacant White Hen across the street, it appears that it's going to be subdivided. We're looking at a potential physical therapy in one portion, and we did receive drawings for a Papa John's build-out in the other portion. So we're starting to get a few storefronts filled as well. So the commercial end still seems fairly strong, so I'm encouraged on the economic recovery portion. It seems to be hitting on the pent-up commercial demand first, and hopefully it'll follow and continue.
Anything with Goodwill? I know any progress report?
Well, we did issue a permit, and they've got their demo done, and they're starting with the electrical service and some underfloor stuff. We've had a couple of inspections there. It all seems to be going pretty well. They seem to be very professional.
And I know the 31st and Wolf project, there may be, I know it's in the May stages at Devonshire and Manheim with a similar venue there as well. It's possible, right? So
Great.
there's some conversation with that as well.
Wonderful.
Good. Thank you. Okay, Ann, it's all yours.
Can't look.
Yeah.
Can't look for signals.
I'd just like to thank everyone for their warm welcome. There have been a lot of friendly faces around the village, so it's been a very easy place to come to work every day.
Kathy, take this down verbatim, please, for the minutes.
Getting underway on work on the budget for the fiscal year starting May 1st, so that will probably be the next thing I have to talk about.
Good. Thanks. Thank you. Well, on behalf of everybody here, certainly welcome. I know you're in a learning curve right now, but Janet's been in the mix for a little bit, so she can help steer that ship a little bit when in her spare time.
Janet got
You know.
thrown into the mix.
Yeah, in her spare time. Well, she's done a lot of fixing in the area. I know certainly this month we should be getting into the budget process. I know the department heads are putting their wish lists together and their zero-based budgeting and their justifications for what type of material service and things like that they're going to be looking for in this next year. I know Janet's been in contact with some insurance vendors for getting some quotes and maybe some reductions or some better coverage, along the way as well. So I know you guys are going to work together well and put us on the right path. So thank you and welcome once again. Okay, I guess it's my turn. Okay. What are we doing? In the Public Works Department, if you noticed, our chip pile was rather large. We, through Senate Tree Service, we were able to get a vendor to come pick those things up for nothing. We built a little ramp so we can load up the semi-tractor trailers, and they've been taking it off, and I think they've been shipping it out of Lamont and down the Mississippi to parts unknown, so that's a good thing. The tree trimming project that Senate is doing as well, and Mr. Senate will be here, I believe, at the next meeting as his contract is expiring, and I would strongly urge the consideration of extending his contract. Certainly, we have the south side of town to do, which is geared up for 2013, and Senate's been a valuable asset to this village in a number of ways and some of the things that he does. But I know he's in the High Ridge area, trimming the 1,500 trees that we have in there, and I know they're pretty much by I don't know if they got to Brian's block as yet. Are they on your block trimming yet, B?
The trucks have been around.
So
I know.
I don't have a truck. I don't have a tree on my parkway, so I didn't.
We already took
examine
that
it.
one down.
But they were
right?
definitely. They already have some tree. They had some larger limbs at the house across the street. They were kind of collecting there. Probably until a bigger truck comes by, pick them up.
Yeah. So I mean, that's going right
It's
along.
going quick.
Yeah. Additionally, we do have our in-house arborist, Steve Crowley. I tell you what, as subbing in Public Works, there's some terrific, great guys back there. But Steve has stepped up to the plate with the ash borers and going out. He's marked pretty much, if you've seen a little small golf ball to tennis ball size green dot on the tree, all that signifies is that it is an ash tree. That's that. And we took the wait and see policy to see if the borer hits the tree or not hits the tree and that. Additionally, UB and the crew have been out there trimming. And also the trees that have been identified that we can, as a municipality, take down, they've taken down. They did 9 yesterday and 5 today. So with that, one of the thoughts I have out there is, to have Senate remove some of the stumps on a tree that probably we took down. It's like $70 to stump it and do that kind of thing. I think we can do that in-house. We probably have 50 of those around town, not only in that High Ridge area to do, that they're cutting down. But, if you'll indulge me there, we'll try to rent a grinder and kind of do it ourselves and save some of that money, because I think we can do it with the personnel that we have. Over time to get those stumps out of there, the grass, the dirt re-put and and it won't be a charge that we have to charge out the Senate. So that's something that we're looking at as well. But the ash trees are being marked. Steve's doing a good job. You being the tree and the group cutting down, it's been a great thing. The SWAT people are coming tomorrow, and our target is the Westchester Boulevard. We want to try to get the leaves and stuff out of there. I have them 2 days this month, I think the 28th of March and tomorrow. So hopefully if there's not a problem, the SWAT will be out there cleaning the community, and they're doing a great job as well. Janet and I had a meeting with Fabiola, our ComEd representative, yesterday. She shared a bunch of initiatives that, ComEd with their 10-year plan for the village. In fact, I signed off on 5 different permit things today of different things that they're going to be doing, replacing fuses, things of that nature, doing some tree trimming, the whole host of stuff throughout the village. So over the next couple of weeks, we should see a host of ComEd-related, Asplunk, Mead vehicles replacing telephone poles and things like that. They have a scheme to it over their 10-year period, and this is the start for whatever we're going to get in Westchester. Also, I did get something from the West Central Municipal Conference, and also Fabiola made mention of it and sent some information that they're going to have what's called a jock center, which is when the power is out in a certain regional area, they're going to put together a team. It's going to be manned by ComEd people and municipal officials as well, that are going to be answer other questions that are being called in for other municipalities in a regional area that may be under distress. It's kind of like a command center for in the police department or in the fire department when there's an emergency. When it reaches a level, I think it was 25% of the customers that were out, that they're going to initiate this, and either myself or a trustee or village manager, police chief, fire chief, in areas hopefully that are not affected, will be able to participate in there and answer questions that are going to be filtered in. They've basically doubled their call volume center. So, some of the critiques of last year is you called, you couldn't get anything, you got bad information or untimely information, or, no, you're back up, no, when you're really out, or vice versa, and they're addressing that as well. So those are that ComEd is front-loading to try to take care of some of these outages. You never know what the weather is going to be, especially now with these 70 days. We've had a lot of wind in town, and I think of only one tree that we lost on Nelson due to wind about a week and a half ago. So, knock on wood, for whatever reason, a lot of stuff isn't coming down, and I'm attributing that to a lot of the tree trimming that we're doing, the tree trimming that ComEd has been doing since December in certain zones of town. So hopefully, knock on wood, we won't have the wholesale outages, because you never know what the weather's going to be like. Janet and I had a meeting in Hope with Burke Engineering for the project on 31st and through the Forest Preserve and in LaGrange Park, and we just talked about some preliminary stuff. I said we need to get a hold of LaGrange Park, as our sewer line does go through their community, although it's Forest Preserve property down that throughout their town, and we need them to be part of any discussions that we have as that moves forward. Additionally, I did have a conversation today with Mrs. Gorman's staff from the 17th District, which covers west of Wolf Road. She's organizing a meeting with IDNR, Forest Preserve, and probably some of the Save the Prairie Hickory Lane homeowners, in regards to the issues that we talked about with Mike Durkin regarding the easement right on Hickory Lane, and also the parking place for the Prairie that we were talking about, vacating that piece of street, I think it's Drake Street, for parking for the Save the Prairie, the antique house that's up there. So that meeting's going to transpire hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we will get our easement and we'll get control of the water line, and that we should have had probably years ago, just for lack of whatever didn't happen.
Sam, can you let me know when that meeting would happen? Because I'd like
Sure.
to sit in on that, because I have some information from prior years of before that I can help you with, that'll help us get through it faster, okay?
And yes, I mean, I did, was in a call today, so this was fresh as of probably 3 o'clock. So absolutely, you certainly have the knowledge base of what happened back in the day, and with the stuff that we have, I think the village would be in a great position to own that water system. Right now, again, if there's a break out there, we would never know it until someone called us.
Right.
Somebody saw water floating out on the 31st Street, or if we happen to haphazardly get a call.
We're no longer reading at the vault anymore, because now they're individually billed.
Yeah.
So, and they're doing it by radio reads, doing that one.
Yeah.
So if it does break somewhere along the line to the house and then out there, we're losing water right away.
And a special kudos go out to Vinnie Smith and Brian Grippo. We always get calls about water meters and water readings and leak checks and this, that, and the other thing. And from what I saw in the Public Works Department, it was generally taking a minimum of a week to read one of the sections. We have 3 sections, with the south side being the largest, which is generally at least a week, sometimes 2 weeks. The reading prior, and we did have some hiccups with the guns, took an inordinate amount of time to read. And I asked the guys, I said, you know what, we're going to be reading this north end here. I said, we have these to read, plus we have about 159 meters that we're not reading, whether the ROM was broken, whether the wires were bad, whether there was something inside the house. So they went out there, and other than probably 15 meters that we now have to make appointments to because we couldn't contact the owners or were able to get in, so now we have to make individual appointments for them, everything has been fixed. They took 2.5 days to read the meters over here on foot. Unheard of. 2.5 days. And in the second zone, it was like 3.5 days. And I think they had a little competitiveness between themselves, and they said probably in the south side zone that 5 days. And now that they've repaired a good 130 meters, we're actually getting actual reads. And what we've also initiated is that if we went to somebody's house and they weren't home, that, I don't know if you remember in the past, I brought in from North Riverside, it was a door hanger thing, generally for code violations. But I said, you know what, we can use this to at least put on the door, we were here, instead of getting a nasty gram that, guess what, if you don't call us, we're going to crank your water off, to get somebody's attention. So I said the first step should be do the door hangers, and we've been doing it for the last week, and it's worked out rather well before we went to, guess what, please call us or we're turning you off. So they've been very energetic back there. They're humping for me with John being out, and it's been a pleasure to be part of that. Also, congratulations to Eric DeTante. His wife Mary delivered a little baby girl this morning, Caramia. So we got a little picture he sent me this morning, and Mom and everybody's doing well, and Eric's one of those guys that'll run through fire for you. So he's a valued employee, and good luck with the baby. And he's got a young daughter that's probably 2, so he's going to have his hands full for a little bit of time. But
He'll be working a lot here just to get out of there.
yeah. Oh, and before I sign off there, as a result of our legislative drive down at the end of March, we've rescheduled our meeting to Monday, the 26th, our board meeting and committee of the whole at 7 o'clock. Same place, it's just that it's on Monday instead of Tuesday. So it looks like we could make most of it. Oh, April 20th is the court date for the, Trustee Sloan sent an email about a pole that was knocked down. It was as a result of an accident. I have the accident report here if you want to take a peek at it. April 20th is the court date. We got Pinner going on that. We did the work order, so it's ready to go. So hopefully there's a pole someplace to put up. We have a couple of poles to do. One at the Boulevard and Roosevelt, and and I think our position should be we need to pole up as soon as possible. If we're chasing down the insurance, I mean, this may be a continuance for 3 or 4 months. You might get before the judge to say, hey, it's a civil matter, which we've all heard as police officers. It's a civil matter, village. Sue the insurance company. This isn't a criminal matter where I can say, guess what, you owe the village X amount of dollars for a pole. It's not going to happen in the Maybrook court session, as all they want to hear there is whether there was a traffic violation and whatever appropriate punishment. But I don't think that we should be waiting X amount of months until we get insurance money to replace the poles. So if you're with me with that, we should be able to get that stuff done. Additionally, regarding the poles, I think the majority on our end have all been labeled by the interns. So if you've seen little labels on them, and that's pole Q59 that's missing.
It was.
Q59. We had probably 50 of the metal covers for whatever reason, whether somebody scoffed them or whatever, missing, that we've replaced them with plastic ones today. George Minda went out there and did a host of them. The only ones that we haven't got were the ones on Manheim Road, because that's a different cover. That's a rectangular pole in a smaller cover. But a lot of them, the covers were off, and if anyone should happen to see one that's off, let me know. We kind of got a list when the interns went, and we replaced a whole host of them today, 30 or 40 of them today, to prevent anybody from getting zapped by sticking their hand in some place it doesn't belong. I don't know if somebody's stealing the covers or whatever it is, but to have 30 or 40 of them missing, it's, that's probably not a good thing. I know they're not falling off. So, yeah. So, anyway. Okay. Miracles in Progress. They have a fundraiser, golf outing, May 18th, 2012. Carriage Greens. I don't know if everyone got this letter as well. Also, I did hear from the Proviso Township Supervisor, Mike Corrigan, March 24th, 2012, 10 a.m. at their office. They call it the Town Hall, but it's the Township office. They're having a foreclosure prevention outreach program hosted by them, and I think it's the Monroe Foundation that does a lot of the foreclosure stuff in our area. So if anyone has anybody that needs that information, we'll post it up there as well. Please avail themselves of that as quickly as possible. I would like to have an executive session, if you'll indulge me, for a personnel item. I'm sure it'll be brief, but I just would like to talk about something.
I just wonder if there was updates on negotiations. That's all. If that was going to be in.
We can do that as well. Negotiations. Okay, is there any litigation we need to discuss as well, or we litigate it out?
I could read this plan if you'd like.
That's mitigation.
Okay. Negotiation update and personnel. It'll be after the cow. Okay. I don't think I have any more. Is there a motion, a second, to adjourn our board meeting?
So moved. Second.
Nick, And Tom?
Do they do that?
All those in favor of the adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. We stand adjourned.